Today, we will be deriving the right-tailed confidence interval for the population mean of a normally distributed population. We will be using the method of hypothesis test inversion. We're going to start with a null hypothesis that the population mean is equal to some hypothesized value, and the alternative hypothesis is that the population mean is greater than some hypothesized value. This is what makes it a right-tailed test, because this inequality symbol over here points to the right. So we have some assumptions. We have that our random variable, let's call it x, is normally distributed. And let's let the standard deviation be known, just because it's the most simple way to roll through this idea. And from this, we'll develop some intuition that will transcend into the student's t-test as well, where we relax that assumption and the standard deviation is not known, but rather estimated from the data. So we'll start with the basic construction. So if this is our alpha value, this is our z sub alpha value, and this region to the right of this standard critical value is where we reject the null hypothesis. And this is sometimes called the rejection region. Okay, so this is the geometrical way to conceptualize the right-tailed test. But there's an algebraic way to conceptualize it, which might even be easier to visualize. So we fail to reject the null hypothesis when our z-score that we observe is less than our z sub alpha. Now notice I said fail to reject over here, but I said reject over here. There's a very important reason why I'm working with failing to reject the null hypothesis. And this reason is because confidence intervals give you the set of values for the hypothesized mean that results in not rejecting the null hypothesis, but rather results in failing to reject the null hypothesis. That's what confidence intervals are. They are regions for the hypothesized mean that result in failing to reject the null hypothesis. So if we reject the null hypothesis when our z is greater than or equal to our z sub alpha, we fail to reject the null hypothesis when our z-score is less than our z sub alpha. And that's exactly what we have here. Now, we already know what the formula is for the z-score for standardizing a sample mean. We just take our sample mean, subtract our hypothesized mean, and we divide by the standard error of the mean. So now our next step is to multiply both sides of this inequality by the standard error of the mean. And we get x bar minus mu naught is less than z sub alpha sigma sub x bar, also known as the standard error of the mean. Now, our desire is to solve for the values of the hypothesized mean, which will lead us to fail to reject the null hypothesis. So our next step would be to subtract the sample mean from both sides of the inequality, leaving us with negative mu naught is less than negative x bar plus z sub alpha sigma sub x bar. So now we have to solve for mu naught. We must get rid of this negative symbol. So we multiply the entire inequality by -1. So we have mu naught is greater than x bar minus z sub alpha sigma sub x bar. So it would be helpful, since we started with geometry, we should take this full circle, if you'll forgive the pun, and render this inequality geometrically using a number line. So we are going to use a number line. So this is the number line for the hypothesized mean. Now you see, this is the greater than symbol. This means the hypothesized mean is greater than this value over here. And this value over here is called a lower bound. And it is often true in our society that things are abbreviated, and so people often say LB instead of lower bound, but LB means lower bound. So let's put this in. So this point here is the lower bound. And we see that the hypothesized mean can be made as large as we wish, arbitrarily large. In the language of mathematics, this means that the hypothesized mean approaches a mental construct which we humans call infinity. So we can, if we want to, put an infinity symbol over here. We can put the mu naught over here. So we see that this confidence interval for the hypothesized mean starts with the lower bound and increases to this mental construct which we humans refer to as infinity. So this geometric version is more of a tool to understand the geometry, but really in a college level statistics class, we use interval notation. So writing what this number line represents in interval notation, we would write it as x bar minus z sub alpha sigma sub x bar. And then a comma, and then the infinity symbol. And this is the college level way to represent this construct statistically. Now this is the answer. And this is the formula for the right-tailed confidence interval for the hypothesized mean.